So yeah.
So that's good. Have you I don't know if I see it over here. Well, you've got Nvidia there. What's what's your take on Nvidia? Because people are just going crazy on this thing.
Yeah, they are. They really are. And I just want to, I mean, again, to me, Nvidia is trying to top out here at some point. Again, it takes some time for the ship to turn, but to me, there is a lot of things looking in that direction for some sort of topping out here at some point. I'm not calling for a crash. I'm just calling for a pullback or a correction of some kind. And the idea behind it is that this gap here was the earnings, where I think they beat earnings by 100%, or it was insane. So they beat earnings quite a lot here. And ever since, we have been grinding higher. Oops, excuse me. We have been grinding higher, but in a bearish wedge. And we actually had a fake out to the upside. And we're now back into the wedge again. And usually you will see a crash all the way down from that point, at least to the bottom of the falling wedge or the rising wedge. So to me,
Mhm.
this gap will looks like it wants to be closed. It's an unpopular opinion, I know, but again, that's my take on things, that we will close this gap here, the earnings gap. And from there, we will see what happens.
Okay.
But it's been a
What?
big ride, it's been up, what is it?
Yeah,
Three and a
I'm
half
not.
times. It's just
I
insane.
wouldn't touch Nvidia here.
No, no. This is purely a short-term trader's heaven at the end here, because you get some big moves and both to the upside and downside. So if you're a trader and you're good, you can trade this. But long-term investment here doesn't make any sense at all. There are better places to go right now.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't even touch that with your money.
no, thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Um, so yeah, we've got that. What about the like the Nasdaq?
the
Nas
Nasdaq. Yeah.
yeah, because the Nasdaq obviously had Nvidia on here, but it's always good to look
Mm.
at the underlying Nasdaq that could also be trading around. Do you think that's topping out, or do you think it's got more to go, like in a melt up or something? If you have an opinion on it.
Yeah, I think it's tough to say, because there's a lot of people called for a melt up. But again,
Hmm.
looking at this one for now, at least it is squeezing out here to some point. But again, we are getting closer to the top back from 2021. And typically, when we get this close, I mean, that's also often when you get the touch
Yeah.
of that high, because you want to have a double top and so on. But uh, but yeah, again, I wouldn't be investing into tech stocks here. That's way too late. You should have bought down here when you started to break out of the
Yeah.
of
The
down here.
downtrend line.
This is where you should have been bought. Of course, in hindsight, that's easy, but again, buying up here for long term, you're only going to get wrecked, in my view. There will be better entries at some point,
Is
because
that
this
a?
could be a, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, could that be a Batman pattern going on?
Oh, the big this one. Yeah, we get the horns or whatever. Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be. But again, it could also be, if we are, let's put on the bullish hat here, it could be a
Hmm.
cup and handler as well. Um, so again, that's why
Hmm.
I'm saying you will get, in my view, you will get better entries at some point if this continues to go higher, which it could. Um, but the entry is definitely not right here right now, in my view.
Gotcha. Which I kind of expected. What
Yeah,
about the S&P 500? Is it doing the same thing as the Nasdaq? I think that's gonna top out and barf over at some point.
I think, yeah, again, the charts are quite similar. So I think
Yep.
what we have shown on the Nasdaq is the exact same take here. In my view,
Okay.
getting so close to the highs, there's no value at all. Maybe there are some values in the smaller or the mid caps or smaller caps. There might be some value. But again, overall, no, I don't see anything here. Um,
Then then what about I know we looked at the um dollar and the Swiss franc. What about like emerging markets? Because
hmm, yeah,
if their currencies are stronger, generally those markets go up during a commodity bull market. So yeah, like
yeah.
Brazil, emerging markets, any of those. What's your take there?
Yeah, I agree with your reference to the dollar. Whenever the dollar is weak, that's typically when you see emerging markets going higher.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is let's remove that for now. But this is basically one big squeeze that we have. You can see it here clearly. One big squeeze on the log scale. Remember that. And and yeah, if we can break to the upside, this is a move up and then a big consolidation. So it favors the upside. And if you can get a break to the upside, then you are going to get a lot higher prices or levels for the Brazilian ETF. Again, we have to wait for the breakout in my view, because we don't know the direction right now, but we are getting into the apex, so it should happen within a year or so at max, in my view. So yeah.
It looks good.
And if you want to have, if it breaks down to the downside, it will be very nasty, but then you have an amazing entry down here, but that's a long way to go. That's like 80, what is 75% drop or so. So that's I will not give it many percent chance of that happening. But if we break down, you should start to look into where you can get the entry, and lowest entry you can get is definitely around 10. But that's quite of an extreme scenario.
What about a company like Baba?
Alibaba?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it, so it's quite new to me. Okay, let's go to the weekly. It's been a heck of a long time since I've been looking at this chart, but you can see the perfect tag to the lows back in 2016. That's quite amazing. And from there, we have had I think it's a 100% move. Boom, almost to the tick. And and yeah, just a quick glance here is, in my view, this is trying to make an inverted head and shoulders right here.
I agree.
So that's my take on it. Just after looking at it in 20 seconds. So so it could be very good once we break, and obviously you can buy. We have just broken out to some degree of this pattern right there. So it looks good. It really does. It looks amazing. I mean, I would much rather invest in Baba compared to Nvidia or whatever Meta and so on, given this structure here.
I'll give you another one then, just for the heck of it. What about Roku?
Yeah, sure.
ROKU.
I haven't looked at that one, but I know the name because it's quite okay. It's quite often tweeted on Twitter. So, but yeah, again, it looks like it wants to have a massive go at this level right here, and quite similar. It looks like a bottoming pattern here. The left shoulder is a bit, how can I say it, amputated or whatever you want to call it, skewed, but you have the kind of the same scenario in that case. But you need to get above 80, in my view, before you can start to look for an entry.
Could it be a bear flag by any chance?
For sure it can. For sure it can. That's also why I want to get above the 80, because then you have you have a good chance of it holding that level for a long period of time, the 80. So yeah, definitely. But that's often what you see when you have a head and shoulders. This side of the head and shoulders is often a bear flag. So that's why you have the two forces fighting against each other, and then you get the result to the upside or the downside. So yeah. I don't know what they do, Roku. What do they do actually? What's $10 billion? I don't know what they.
They sell stuff for TVs. It's kind of like surfing channels, so to speak. They sell them with TVs and stuff.
I see. Okay.
All right. So here's another one that I'd like to get your take on. It's commodity related. Copper.
I just took it out. That's I just found it because I knew you were going to go in that direction.
Yes.
So two minds thinks alike, I guess.
Yes.
So, but yeah, copper again. The bulls and the bears, in my view, are fighting here at this point in time, and you can see the squeeze. It's quite clear as day, in my view. We have only until September, so 2 months roughly until we get into the apex. And we have had a few fake downs below this golden trend line, but the the bullish side is you want to get above this one coming down here. There it is.
Yes. Yep.
There it is. There's nothing. I mean, in my view, you shouldn't. If you don't have a position, just wait for the breakout to get into the minors. And you can see either we will break to the upside or obviously to the downside once you get this close into an apex. But I really like this. If you look at the past 4 weekly candles, you have this weekly candle alone took out, the remaining 3. At least, even you can go back. You can go back a lot further to until May. It took almost. Excuse me. You can see here how many candles it took out. So the past 2 very big weekly candles have been taken out in 1 week. So in my view, that favors the upside. It was a great week for copper. So yeah,
Go copper.
go copper.
I'm bullish on it, so I think we're going way higher.
Yeah,
I
we
think
are.
We're gonna break through all those previously traded regions before it and just rip.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm too bullish on it, but I think copper could go to like $15 or $20 a pound.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, I saw some tweet about the copper inventories on the COMEX, and it's basically zero. Well, not zero, but we are very low. So it could be the next nickel, nickel move up or yeah, on the COMEX. So for sure.
And what's your take on what happened to yields and the dollar recently, this past week? Because we've seen it just.
Yes, let's look.
I mean, we looked at the ratio. I know we have that, but I mean, is this going to be the next big downtrend leg of the dollar and yields, perhaps?
If we start with the dollar, this is a 20-year, 25-year long monthly chart, and the breakdown this week. I don't want to zoom in yet, but the breakdown this week below 100 and 100.8 shows to me that we are going in for the full retest at around 97. That's the next one. Then we'll get a bounce, and then we will see what happens. But if we zoom in, you can clearly see, in my view anyways, that this is one ugly weekly candle for sure. We broke down below the lows here at, as mentioned, 100.8. And the path of least resistance is somewhere around here at 97 for this move here. And what happens from there, we have to wait and see. But still, the dollar looks like it wants to go way lower from here. It doesn't go in a straight line, obviously, but it will grind lower because this week's price action was very bearish for the dollar. Very.
And then we're going to break that lower trend line later on, right? And break completely out because it's a bearish flag pattern.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely in the cards. But if it does, again, it won't happen this year or next year. But when and if, I mean, that's again, that's where gold will have its final blow off, or whatever you want to call it, later on, getting below this trend line here. That's when it will really start to accelerate for gold. But but yeah, and we can quickly look at the yields. Yeah,
yields, 10-year yield or something.
Yeah. This, I'm just going to remove all the short-term stuff. This was a giant bull flag, and there were another Twitter account on Twitter that mentioned, "Are you the only one who thinks that this is a false breaker to the upside?" And I said, yes, I do agree. Because the bear flag, in my view, was so late into the move, and it was so obvious to everyone that this is a bull flag. A bull flag. That this could be a fake out to the upside, and for now, this is exactly what we have gotten, and we are currently, retesting the low side of the fake out here, then retest of the golden trend line, and if the dollar is going down to like 97, I mean, then that would also indicate that rates are going down, at least to the bottom side of this bull flag here. So
Okay.
yeah. So I agree. It looks like we are in for some weakness in the dollar overall. Thanks, Yellen. What's her name? Janet Yellen. Thank you.
Janet. Yeah.
Whatever she
Janet.
did out in China. So
Good old Janet.
yeah, old she is. That's for sure.
And I also see you've got on the list Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin.
Good
Yes.
old Bitcoin.
There's been a lot of talk on Bitcoin, and actually, it looks quite good, to be honest. I mean, and again,
Hmm.
my view, and I think your view as well, I think we have talked about this before. Bitcoin to me is the ultimate liquidity indicator about what's of how much liquidity there is in the system. That's my take on it. And let me show on the daily here. Let me show the past bull flag that we have here. This bull flag was between 31.5 and 29.5, so a 1K range more or less. And let me go to the 8-hourly. You can see here we had a fake out to the upside, and now we're back into the bear flag, the bull flag once again. And it's still valid, but this right here doesn't. It's not the best in my view for Bitcoin in the short term, at least. And oops, there it is. But we need to break up from this bull flag here. Then we have the inverted head and shoulders target at around what is it, 41. So yeah, it's a big fight right now in this bull flag, and we will see what happens. But short term, it looks good. We're in an uptrend, and until we have broken the green support line here, it's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
And I want to show you one actually, XRP. I know we haven't talked about a lot about crypto, but I just want to show you XRP because I know your audience is mostly into commodities, but still XRP on a log scale. Just want to show you. Let's take the weekly. This is what happened last week, this Friday, I think. That's quite bullish, no matter what sector or ticker you're looking at. That's quite bullish. So, and this was I think the SEC lost the case against XRP. They had a court case, whatever, something with something illegal stuff, but XRP won it. I think that's the short take on it. Don't quote me on this, but that's what I heard. So that's quite bullish if you look at it. So yeah, crypto could be in for something big here. But again, crypto, we aren't even close to the halving. And usually the next leg up starts, if I remember correctly, a half year after the halving in Bitcoin. So we're still like a year out, or we still need a year to go before we have the halving and so on. So it looks a bit premature to me, but again, cycles can be broken and so on, but still, yeah, let's see.
Okay.
XRP.
Any other sectors that you're interested in talking about?
No, I think we went through what we have, what we usually look at. So I think it was a good recap. Anyways, overall.
I'll ask one because I know some people may ask it. What about lean hogs?
Lean hogs. We had that one.
Yeah, lean
time on the
hogs are
show,
like a fertilizer or something like that. The soft commodities. Some people ask
yeah,
about
lean
that.
hogs. Yeah. I think I can't know the ticker, so excuse me if I have to search for it.
Coco's ripped it.
Oh yeah, it did. I want to show you Coco. Let's just quickly go Coco, and then we can go lean hogs.
Sure.
I did post this many times before. Just look at this one right here. It's lovely. It's lovely. But again, we are oversold on the monthly, so we will probably get a pullback, and then you can re-enter. You can enter. But still, this breakout here was a 10-year long, 13-year long, massive consolidation or pause. So Coco looks really good. So your Snickers and Mars bars will get very expensive within a year or two.
Yep.
So yeah, lean hogs.
Going with the hogs.
Looks good to me. It looks good to me, man. Once we break, of course, but still, this is very bullish price behavior for lean hogs. Just one simple line all the way down there.
Yep.
Looks good. And just to clarify, I have all my charts on log scale. So if you look at this chart and you have it on normal scale, you get a different view. But in the
Gotcha.
past 2 months, 3 months, 2 months, I think I switched to log scale, and I think the setups and the charts are a lot more clear. So I will urge some of your listeners, viewers, to try it out to see if that fits them as well. But for me, it really did. So just a disclaimer.
That's good. Anything else?